If you think UPSC CSAT 2026 was a mathematics paper, you misunderstood the paper completely. This paper was not designed to find the best mathematician in the room. It was designed to identify who can think clearly under uncertainty, under time pressure, without emotional collapse. And that is a completely different examination. Today, we are not doing a generic, easy, moderate, difficult analysis of CSAT paper. We are not doing question 1 answer A, question 2 answer C, question 3 answer D. No, that type of analysis we are not doing here. Today we decode the actual architecture of this paper. Because once you understand the architecture, you understand what UPSC is slowly becoming. And honestly, CSAT 2026 confirms one thing very clearly. What is this? What is that? UPSC has evolved from aptitude testing to cognitive filtering. From aptitude testing to cognitive filtering. So, let us understand this deeply. What is the biggest misunderstanding about most CSAT, about CSAT 2026? What is the biggest misunderstanding? Most aspirants right now are saying maths was difficult, reasoning was lengthy, reading comprehension was confusing. They are saying like this, but I think that is a shallow reading of the paper. Why? Because the real issue was not difficulty. Then what is the real issue? The real issue was cognitive discipline. Look carefully at this paper. The paper repeatedly punished impulsive thinking, careless assumptions, ego solving, and emotional overconfidence. These are repeatedly punished because that is the hidden pattern of the paper. This paper was silently asking, can you remain structurally calm when certainty is incomplete? That is the real exam. That is the real exam. And this is why many intelligent students will still struggle in this CSAT paper. Because intelligence alone was not enough all the time. Because UPSC was testing decision quality under the pressure. Extreme uncertainty. This is extremely important. Older CSAT papers often rewarded speed solving, formula memory, and shortcut culture. But that days are gone. But this paper repeatedly rewarded careful reading, controlled elimination, conditional interpretation, and selective skipping. Regarding all the topics like reading comprehension, you have to careful reading each and every word, and you have to eliminate each option with elimination architecture that is controlled. And comes to the assumptions or etc., you have to conditional interpretation within the passage. And selective skipping of the questions is also most important in this paper. This is a massive shift from speed, formula memory, shortcut culture to careful reading, controlled elimination, conditional interpretation, and selective skipping. What is the first big weapon of UPSC data sufficiency psychology? Now look at how UPSC opened the paper. The opening itself is a psychologically fascinating. Instead of giving easy confidence building arithmetic, UPSC begins with data sufficiency style thinking. And this is extremely intentional. Rather than easy arithmetic to data sufficiency style thinking. The shift changed here. You have to remember and you have to understand, you have to realize this, because data sufficiency questions do not merely test solving ability. They're testing whether the student understands what information is actually needed. So this is where many aspirants collapse, because they try to fully solve the question instead of testing sufficiency. You have to read the question very carefully and understand the question. Then you have to understand the sufficiency of data given in the question, particular question. And suddenly a 40-second question becomes a 4-minute trap due to this type of questions asking in the CSAT examination. That is exactly how UPSC creates pressure leakage. It imbibe pressure in the minds of students, not through impossible mathematics, but through wrong cognitive engagement. And this pattern repeated throughout the paper. Many questions look difficult only because aspirants approached them incorrectly. Very important observation this is. Comes to the reading comprehension in this paper, completely evolved. This is the heart of the paper. Reading comprehension. Reading comprehension is heart of the paper as far as CSAT is concerned in 2026 also. And honestly, that is where the real filtering happened. Most students still thinking reading comprehension means read paragraph, find answer, ticking the answer, bubble the answer in the OMR sheet, etc. 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 No, that is not. UPSC reading comprehension is now something much deeper. UPSC is testing whether you can separate what is stated, what is implied, what is emotionally attractive, what is logically valid, and what is unsupported. That distinction is the entire game. Look carefully at the reading comprehension options across the paper. The paper repeatedly used traps like the passage says may, but the option says must. The passage says can contribute, but the option says will definitely solve. They given these type of traps between the passage and option, and under pressure students do not notice this distortion. This is where marks disappear silently. Comes to the AI passage or to or culture passage, etc. Another major trap here is outside knowledge contamination. What is outside knowledge contamination? This was beautifully visible in the virus passage. SARS-CoV-2. SARC CO2, CO2, SARS. The AI agriculture passage. This was especially visible in the AI agriculture passage, where many students likely injected current affair assumptions about automation and productivity that were never fully supported by the passage itself. I already told in many lectures regarding these traps. You have to bound by the passage. You have to bound by the passage. Don't use your current affairs knowledge in this particular passage according to the current affairs related passages. And in fact, many students probably lost rhythm somewhere between questions 25 and question 45. Because the paper continuously forced cognitive thinking and cognitive switching, reading comprehension to quant to reasoning to abstract interpretation. Because you have to do reading comprehension and you have to do quantitative aptitude questions and you have to do reasoning and you have to do abstract interpretation for with all these things. And now interpersonal skills are reintroduced, that type of questions. In technology related passages, students started using what they already knew from current affairs. Again, I am repeating it. Instead of saying loyal to the passage, you have to bound and loyal to the passage, and UPSC punished that instantly. This is very important lesson you have to understand. In UPSC CSAT, your knowledge can actually become dangerous if it contaminates comprehension. That is very sophisticated filtering mechanism. You must bound with the passage only. The paper is 2026 was not maths heavy. CSAT 2026, it was decision heavy. Now this is the biggest insight from CSAT 2026 we have to learn. The paper was not heavily mathematical. Most questions involved basic arithmetic, basic ratios, basic logic, basic percentages, basic speed and distance, basic number system, direction system, blood relation system, syllogisms. Nothing extraordinary individual, nothing extraordinary individually. But UPSC layered them with conditions, time pressure, hidden wording, and a cognitive fatigue. That changed everything. This is why many aspirants felt like this. I know the concept, but still I struggled. Exactly. Because UPSC was not testing concept recall here. UPSC was testing whether you can process conditions accurately under emotional pressure. That is the real battlefield. For example, let's take the train questions, take arrangement questions. Take solid cutting questions, take cube questions, take weighted selection questions, take permutation and combination questions, combination questions. Individually solvable, take average questions. Individually solvable, but together they create cumulative fatigue with through hybrid questions like percentage ratio hybrid questions, etc. And the fatigue destroys judgmental quality. You have to continuously thinking in 2 hours with mental fatigue will destroy. This is a psychological paper architecture, and that fatigue destroys your judgmental quality. So this is not merely an academic paper architecture. This is a psychological paper architecture. You have to realize that thing. What is the hidden administrative aptitude layer in this question paper 2026 CSAT? This is the most underrated observation in the entire paper, and very few people are discussing this properly. Look carefully at the communication and management oriented questions, like in interpersonal skills type questions, questions on communication tools, questions on questionnaire design, questions on conflict resolution, questions on organizational communication, questions on workplace reasoning. They are giving like this. This is not traditional aptitude testing anymore. This is administrative cognition. This is the future officer faced questions under the pressure. Very importantly, UPSC is slowly integrating bureaucratic thinking patterns inside CSAT, and comes to the GS paper also. Today 2026 GS paper 1 also included few questions regarding decision making, some administrative type of ethics questions they are asking. They asked in this 2026 CSAT paper. So UPS is slowly integrating bureaucratic thinking patterns inside CSAT, not only CSAT, as well as in the GS paper also, GS paper 1 also. What is the meaning? That means, can you communicate properly, structure information properly, understand organizational flow, interpret objectives correctly, avoid communication barriers, handle institutional situations rationally? This is extremely significant. So that is why they are asking these type of questions. When you are going to work in the organization, what should be the flow, what should be the objectives, what should be the interpretation, what should be the communication process, how to handle the institutional situations rationally, and how to communicate with others properly, how to structure information properly, how can you understand the organizational flow which will be going to work. because this moves CSAT closer to real administrative filtering. This has to be very carefully, you have to remember and realize and understand. Why? Because I think this trend will become even stronger in future papers. That is why I am saying like this. Rather than not only CSAT paper, both GS paper also they have asked like these administrative type, bureaucratic type, ethical type questions they are asking today in 2026 GS paper as well as CSAT paper. So you have to understand the thinking of UPSC. You have to be aware of UPSC trending, UPSC direction. That is only save you. What is the biggest mistake students made? The biggest mistake many students likely made in this paper, now, now let me tell you, that is misclassification. What is misclassification? What is misclassification? This paper demanded, the CSAT 2026 paper demanded a round based strategy to solve the questions. But many aspirants emotionally attacked the paper linearly. Why? That is fatal in modern CSAT. The paper demanded a round based strategy like round 1, 2, 3, etc. But many aspirants emotionally attacked the paper linearly without classifying the questions. That is the fatal in modern CSAT. You have to understand this. Some questions looked easy but were actually time sinks. Some looked difficult but were actually short if approached calmly. That distinction mattered enormously. That is the classification you have to do in the examination rather than attack each and every question, question by question. The student who survived this paper likely did three things correctly. What are the three things? The first thing, they harvested easy questions aggressively because low hanging fruits. And second one is they skipped ego traps quickly. And the third one, they avoided emotional attachment to difficult reasoning sets. That is the actual difference, not IQ here. Decision discipline is important rather than IQ. So the classification is most important. Decision discipline also most important in the solving of the UPSC CSAT paper 2026 with round strategy. Easy questions first round, medium traps second one, and and difficulty questions if have to skip. If you want to skip, you have to skip. That is the decision discipline you have to do. You have to imbibe that. Comes to the exam reality, many students probably lost control between question number 25 and question 45. I'm saying this again. Why? because the paper slowly accumulated mental fatigue through mixed cognitive switching. That is from reading comprehension to quant to reasoning to abstract interpretation. Why? Because why I am repeating it again. This is the most important phase when the UPSC CSE prelims CSAT question solving. So comes to the Metis, comes to the round system. What is the round system? Now let us understand this paper through the Metis round system. What is the Metis round system? Comes to the round system. Round number 1 should have focused on direct arithmetic questions, easy reading comprehension questions, straightforward reasoning questions, coding, basic direction sense, and simple percentages questions, and simple ratio questions, and score harvesting. In this round, no emotional investment here. You have to attempt easy, simple, direct questions in this first round. No emotional investment here, no time investment here. This is all about round 1. Next, going to the round 2, that is what you have to target here: moderate RC questions, moderate reading comprehension, moderate quant questions, ranking, conditional logic questions, structured arrangements. This is the controlled attack zone, that is called as round 2 system. And comes to the round 3, only for selected dangerous questions, not all questions. Why? Because this is critical. If you solve a number of questions without knowing fully, the negative marks will increasing. The amount of chance of qualifying decreasing the paper. So many aspirants think round 3 means attempt everything left. No, that is not correct. Round 3 means high probability selective attack. Let me repeat it again. Round 1 is direct arithmetic, coding, basic ratios, comes to harvesting. Round 2 is conditional logic, structured arrangements, controlled attack. Round 3, high effort, low return traps. Selective skipping is needed because UPSC deliberately inserts high effort, low return questions, and emotionally unstable aspirants walk directly into them. Comes to the what CSAT 2026 really proved today. After analyzing the entire paper deeply, I think CSAT 2026 proved one thing very clearly. What are they? UPSC no longer wants surface level preparation. They don't want surface level preparation candidates. And UPSC definitely does not rewarded formula dumping, formula memorization, rote learning. The exam is increasingly rewarding clarity under pressure, precision of interpretation, selective aggression, ambiguity handling, vague handling, and disciplined cognition. That is the future CSAT. That is the future of CSAT. And honestly, that is the future of UPSC itself, not only for the CSAT. They need clarity under pressure, the decision making under pressure, precision of interpretation, systems thinking, ambiguity handling. They need all these type of things from the students. So to every serious aspirants listening carefully, please understand this. Please understand this. Please understand this. Your enemy in CSAT is not mathematics. Your enemy is panic. Your enemy is misclassification of the questions. Your enemy is overthinking. Your enemy is careless reading. Your enemy is emotional decision making. If you learn how to stay structurally calm, how to eliminate intelligently, how to skip wisely, how to process conditions accurately, CSAT becomes survivable. But if you emotionally react to the paper, even easy questions become dangerous. That's the thing you have to remember all the time. UPSC CSAT 2026 was not filtering intelligence. It was filtering emotional decision quality under uncertainty. I am all the time repeating. Emotional decision quality under uncertainty, under pressure. And that is exactly why modern UPSC preparation must evolve beyond memorization into systems thinking. The future UPSC aspirant can survive, cannot survive through memorization alone. The future UPSC aspirant must become a calm systems thinker under uncertainty. The future UPSC aspirant must become a calm systems thinker under uncertainty. This is Niranjan Ankilla, and this is the Metis way of decoding UPSC.